I'll try it, and if it doesn't work, I can always stop. This edge looks pretty good. This edge still needs a lot more. And the reason I said the 1/4 inch is I'm going shockier because I wasn't getting good results with the other. So we'll see. You see this, and I'm not in your way? Kind of blew through it. Not good at all. Flake only went to there. I can go a little slower. That worked better. I swung hard but slower. Okay, so that's the recipe that I'm going to try and use for right now. And I'm going to keep an eye on the burrs. Don't need them. And I'm definitely keeping an eye on the integrity of the platforms. Fine abrader. Okay, this is a relatively important flake. The flake split, but it came all the way over. And it lowered a lot, which is good. You might be asking yourself, well, why didn't I intuitively know what I wanted to do as far as the indirect to start with? Well, I actually haven't worked tremendous amounts of this really lower grade material since I started using indirect. And it's kind of a guessing game judgment call on how to deliver that energy in a way that it works. But this is going good. I mean, those are really working. And you might be saying to yourself, oh, well, gee, that's the ugliest work I've ever seen. Well, it's not really how I look at things. I kind of look at things in terms of, is it getting thin? Is it getting to where it could have edges? Is it somewhat regularized? And what is normal to be expected out of a rock like this? Well, the answer is no, there is no normal, because nobody works a rock like this. I mean, it's just rare that anybody will work rock this bad. In part because you generally don't have to, because you know there's better rock available. Now I have things down in here I want to deal with, but I'm just trying to go from the ends. Killer stuff, man. Supporting, see where my finger is? Supporting all along, back of my hand, everywhere. dangerous to hit on the ends like that. But there's several things you got to do. One thing is you can't choke. The worst thing you can do is hit too softly, because if you hit too softly and the flake doesn't go, well, guess what? All that force goes into the whole piece and shocks the crap out of it. So it's kind of like when you're punch notching, you want the flake to go. The flake has to go. If the flake doesn't go, you're probably going to break the piece. See how I'm supporting it? All the way out, all the way down. Under there, under here. The other thing is, don't get too big a bite. Just blending. I'm doing this instead of using pressure. This is a whole lot less likely to fail than pressure. You know, sometimes you try and push pressure flakes too hard, too far, and they hinge out. You didn't get it as far as you want to. Well, you can always blast with indirect more than you can do with pressure, so I prefer that look. Pays to stop every now and then to look at it and ask yourself where you're at. Straight down. You might say, oh, you hinged it. Yeah, I know. That was intentional. Calculated risk. Calculation being that I'm hoping that I can actually turn this other edge and easily fix that stuff, and therefore I wanted to go in flat with it. Well, This isn't going to be a Folsom. Okay. You can just get that thought out of your head. All right, so now, crunch time. Because that's the most critical, I think I'm going to work this way and go outward, which is the opposite of what I would usually do. I'm really not doing anything but taking the bows off when I do that. Okay, so this one, we're going to kick it. I tried to drop it on there slow. It worked pretty well. Got half of it, and I still have more over there I can do. If you wonder why I get rid of the sharpened edge from that break, I don't want one side of a platform to be a lot see how nicely that removed that issue, and we still have the ability to deal with this other. I think I'll go up top and mess with it. Got that. Starting to look kind of clean considering. Now, one argument could be made that if I don't need the finished blade to be this wide, that I should have keep coming on in before I started trying to take those flakes. I imagine a lot of people feel I armchair quarterback myself too much, but I do believe that that's helpful in that constant. That was risky. I shot that about an inch, but I was trying to be real careful in how I did it. What was I saying? I think that my constant armchair quarterbacking myself is a difference in me learning. I learn more because I'm always asking myself, well, gee, did I do that right? Is that, how could I have done that better? Would it have worked better a different way? And I really think that's the only reason I've been able to do what I can do in the amount of time I've been napping. So I got that one a little deeper. And it's still thick enough that that's okay, but It's all depending on where you want to end up. I'm not trying to do a sweet water here. This material doesn't have the tensile strength to be great for doing something like ultra thin. I'm not doing ultra thin work. This side is really flat. This other side still has a little bit of convexity to it, and it's thicker than I would prefer. Which is why I'm coming on down a little more with it. So calculate a risk. You know, I'm just sitting here enjoying goofing off the afternoon, talking to y'all. That was real risky. And I was hoping to kick on in through that, but I didn't get there. Be right back.